You have the right to remain stupid. Everything you do not know can and will be used against you, most likely for profit.
We would like to apologize for the way in which politicians are represented in this program. It was never our intention to imply that politicians are weak-kneed political time servers who are concerned more with their personal vendettas and private power struggles than the problems of government. Nor to suggest at any point that they sacrifice their credibility by denying free debate on vital matters, in the mistaken impression that party unity comes before the well-being of the people they supposedly represent. Nor to imply at any stage that they are squabbling little toadies without an ounce of concern for the vital social problems of today. Nor indeed do we intend that viewers should consider them as crabby, ulcerous little self-seeking vermin with furry legs and an excessive addiction to alcohol and certain explicit sexual practices which some people might find offensive. We are sorry if this impression has come across.
Hey, want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Here it comes. Bing! Yeah, welcome once again, family, friends, neighbors, Romans, countrymen, people that have just walked in off the street to another action-packed, side-splitting, laugh-a-minute episode of Side Project Live, blah, 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 blah. You know the drill by now. Once again, Morris, Illinois. This is Jimmy G, and in Lockport.
Hi there, Lockport, Illinois, Eric Ferguson.
And hopefully soon, Lec will be joining us, and
Microsoft bought Skype out.
Whoa, hold on. That's not supposed to play just yet. Hold on. Ah, boy. I need to put a little, blank MP3 file there to prevent that sort of thing from happening. But, hey, you know. All right, so...
no such a use, I'll send it to you.
What's that?
I have one just for such uses. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, like those are hard to make in Audacity. Generate, silence, 10 seconds, boom, done. But as people know, that we've been going through a lot of crap here in Illinois, and before we go on though, Eric, how have things been going with you? I keep forgetting sometimes to do this little chit chat segment because I want people to know that we are human and we have feelings, because we are sensitive people. But so how have things been going with you, Eric?
Going okay, I guess. I'm still here, still looking for work, but I'm all right.
Hey, if you're not in this day and age, if you're not looking for work, you're looking for more work. And Lord knows I'm looking for more work, so.
Pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't count that sort of crap in the unemployment figures. They only count the unemployed, not the people who are underemployed or the people who've just basically given up. And if I had some talents other than this show, I would be starting my own business under the table. I think that's really the only way that this country is going to be saved is by the the gray market businessman. The evil capitalist. Whoa. So. But at any rate, so I've been doing okay. Had the 4-H fair last weekend, which is why we didn't do a show. And because of some situations with technical problems, we recorded a show like the week before with Cephas and Mike from the Bitch Spot Report. Oh, and by the way, Mike from that show lives over here in Shorewood. Cephas lives actually in California, but so I hooked up with Mike last night at what's the place, Twofer's over in Minooka, and we had this nice big long chat about nothing. My wife called me 3 times. Where are you? You're supposed to be home, and I gotta go. So we had a good talk, and it was nice to have them on the show, and they did this this last episode. They talked about this thing where this one preacher says that people that are gay basically are possessed by like fart monsters or gas monsters or something like that, and I'm like, yeah, well, you can't do that. without at least going to YouTube and playing The Farting Preacher. I don't know if you've ever heard this thing, and I don't have it up because I wasn't expecting to talk about it, but this is freaking hilarious. They take video clips of that Robert Tilton guy, and whenever he's making a face...
Oh, he's one of my favorites.
Oh, God.
Robert Tilton.
Back in the day when I was religious, I was at this one friend's house of mine, and she was getting these mails, these letters from him, and like, if you just sow a seed, and they had this poster of Robert Tilton, and he's like, and you're supposed to put your hand up to it, and you know, and I will believe with you, and I've got to find the picture of the poster here, just a second here, but it was oh God, you've got to see this. And I know it's on Google Images because I searched for it. Here it is. Here it is. Let me see if I can share my screen. I know I can do that. It's in this toolbox. Here it is. Oh, no, this is the one I want to share, right here.
Come on.
And that's the poster. And then it comes with the little coupons. You see where it says day 1, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah. And every day you're supposed to pray with him. And then I think, like, send him, like, a love offering every day until, like, day 21. And then you're supposed to get your miracle. That was awesome. That was just so totally awesome. All right, how do I unshare this now? Is that it? There we go. But, oh, God, that thing is so totally freaking awesome. Anyway, without further ado, for people who have been listening to the show, following it for a while, we've been in the midst of, like, this big, I call it scandal that the news media, with the exception of the Sun-Times, actually, they've been doing some good reporting on it with the Republican Party and trying to make sure we don't get on the ballots. Now, they've successfully fought the Constitution Party. They got 30,000 signatures to get onto the petition. The Republican Party challenged 20,000 of them, and they lost the petition battle by, I think it was a small number. It wasn't that much. And then next week, the Democrat Party is challenging the Green Party. The Green Party has actually already filed a lawsuit, and the Constitution Party has joined in on that lawsuit. They say it's unconstitutional, and I think they can win that because of something I will read a little bit later. But the curious thing with that is that the Libertarian Party of Illinois, I think it was 2 years ago, filed a lawsuit against the Illinois State Board of Elections, and they asked the Constitution and the Green Party to join us, but for some reason they didn't. I don't understand that. I am trying to get a representative from the Green Party on here to talk about their struggles, and I'm going to see if I can't get him on the show next week, because while we're pretty much libertarian here, this is a battle that is really screwing over the entire state. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat, Republican, Constitution, Green, Libertarian, Communist, Worker Socialist, Bourbonnais Citizenship Party, which is a real political party, I might add. It doesn't matter. You're all getting screwed. You're getting your choices taken away because of this. So, well, I'm going to get him on next week. But now on Monday at the State of Illinois Center in Chicago, the Republican Party lost the signature challenge. On Monday of this week, which is that's the 4th, they're challenging the petitioners. And if they can prove that one of the petitioners is a fraud or doesn't live where they say they live, they can get all of the signatures that person collected knocked off. They're going up against, first of all, Brian Scott Lambrecht, who is the there's Robert Tilton, who is the head of the DuPage County. You know what? I'm going to have to keep that image. Send me a link to that one. That one's a good one. That one's awesome. So anyway, they're challenging him, stating that he doesn't live where he says he lives, yet Brian Lambrecht has lived there for 8 years. has all of the documents proving he lives there, and has been, oh, I don't know, paying his damn mortgage there for 8 years. So you think that would be proof, but isn't. And so that's what they're going to be doing on Monday. If they can get the bigger ones off of there, we only have to lose 5,001 votes or thereabouts at this point. And if they can successfully do that, then we're screwed and we're off the ballot. Now, something that happened this last weekend is that apparently Republican Party operatives have been visiting people who signed the Libertarian petition. And with that, I would like to welcome our guest, Warren Bent. Is it Bent?
That's correct. Yes, you've got it right.
I understand you were visited by some of these operatives. Let us, first of all, when did this happen? About what time?
Last Sunday afternoon, middle of the afternoon, 3-ish. I wasn't really paying attention to the clock. My wife had me doing a honeydew project. I was fortunate enough to have her bring home a large piece of furniture in pieces that needed to be put together. So my living room was strewn with table legs and chair legs and etc. And a knock came at my door. So obviously I went to answer, and so it was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon last Sunday. Okay.
So, they knocked on the door or rang the bell or, whatever it is you kids do these days. So you answered the door, and what did they say at first? What happened?
Well, it was there was a young, I'm going to say college-age male kid there, and asked if he could please speak to Warren Bent. So I told him that he is.
Oops.
And he showed me the petition that I signed, or actually a photocopy of the petition that I signed. Mm-hmm. And indicated that my signature apparently appeared on this petition, and he wanted to know if, in fact, that was my signature. So I told him, of course, it was my signature. And then he went on to inquire if I recalled, in his words, if the person who came to your door was a male or a female. Now, the person hadn't actually come to my door. I attend, not every month, but periodically, the DuPage Libertarian meetings. Mm-hmm. And I was at one, I believe it was in April, if I recall correctly, but it could have been a month off of that. But at any rate, and Brian and others were there, and Brian said, have you signed the petition yet? No, I haven't signed the petition yet. Well, it just so happens that there's one more signature on this sheet. Could you please sign for us? Of course I could. So I did. So I told him, I said, nobody came to the door, and I explained to him what had happened. But it was fairly clear to me that what he was trying to do when he asked if it was a male or a female was to determine if the gender of my response was different than the gender of the petition circulator. Mm-hmm. So if Brian had signed it as a petition circulator and I said a female had come to my door, that's what he was attempting to discover. It appeared anyway.
Okay, so he was basically doing two things, trying to determine if your signature was real and if Brian somehow got a sex change operation.
Correct.
Okay, he mustn't get turned on by that sort of thing. I mean, hey, it's not my cup of tea, but who am I to judge? But. Mm-hmm. But in all seriousness, after he asked you, I am like bumping into everything today. After he, one second, I'm gonna move my iced tea out of the way so I don't bump anything else. There we go. Okay, so once he asked you the question, and you responded. How did you respond again?
I simply told him that I had signed the petition at a monthly DuPage Libertarian meeting, so nobody had come to my door, and that I wasn't even 100% sure who the petition circulator was, because there were a number of people who attend these meetings on a monthly basis that were each individually circulating their own petitions. And so it wasn't all that important to me. I believe it was Brian's that I'd signed, but I didn't pay that much attention to it. It could have been Crystal's or somebody else who happened to be at the meeting that month too. So I just indicated to him that I'd signed it at a meeting, and so as a result of that, I wasn't really even sure who the petition circulator, what their gender was, but it was somebody who was attending the meeting and somebody who was actively petitioning.
Mm-hmm. So when all of this was going on, okay, now did you after he asked you that, and then you basically had said all of that, what else did they say anything else at that point?
No, I mean, so of course, first of all, as the doorbell rings on a Sunday afternoon, this is not what you expect to find on the other side of the door. So it took me a couple of questions to sort of recognize exactly what was going on here, and so, you know, I began to get a little bit more agitated at the whole process as I recognized what they were doing. So I began, you know, not in a physical threatening manner, of course, but I began to berate him a little bit and asked him, you know, don't you people have anything else to do with your time other than this? Maybe you ought to think about running a campaign instead of running around knocking on people's door who are signing petitions. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he sort of shrank very quickly from that. And in some ways, maybe I feel a little bit sorry for him because, as I said, this is a college-age student who has been given a set of instructions and is carrying them out in exchange for a paycheck.
I found it interesting when I was it last week or the week before? I think it was the week before, when I went down to Springfield to help in the good guys in the petition challenges with all the signatures. That pretty much everybody there they had were college students. I guess that week there had been higher ups like lieutenants from the Republican Party of Illinois there. And they were being asses, challenging every signature, berating the judge and the defenders, and just really being total assholes. Pardon my French. And on the Wednesday, the Illinois Board of Elections told these people, you cannot be up here anymore because you're just causing way too many problems. You're forbidden. And so at that point, they started bussing in college students, and I remember I had, first of all, the judge was maybe about my age, maybe a little bit younger. I'm going to be 46 this year. That is incredible. Anyway, so me and him got along fabulously. I didn't think we would at first, but it turns out that we're both kind of Monty Python Mystery Science Theater geeks, and so we were just like cracking jokes the whole time, me and the judge. And but the person who was challenging the ballots was this hot 20-year-old college chick who she would just, first of all, she was hot, and she wasn't saying anything the whole time. She was just taking notes. She didn't challenge anything. She never said a word. And then at one point I went over all of this last week, but I think this is kind of important so people can know what's going on. She had to leave for an hour or so to do something, and so they had this, I think, leader of the college students sit in, and he was there, and I think I won like about 45% of my challenges. A lot of it was just bullshit, and FYI, it looks like most of the bad signatures came from paid petitioners, and I can't say anything more about that, but we are going to be doing something about that. But there was this one where this person signed a line, printed his name, put his address, and beneath it was another person with the same last name. They printed it, signed it, and then just put ditto marks. Third line was the same thing. Someone with the same last name, signed it, ditto marks. And this guy was like, wait, what are those marks there? What are those? And the judge was like, those are ditto marks. They obviously live in the same place. There was one thing I challenged that I lost that I think we should have gotten, was this person signed the petition, wrote their name, put their address down. But instead of putting the correct last number on the end, I think they put like a 0, and it should have been a 3, which means the place where he lives was right next door to where this address was. And I'm like, the guy lives in the same district, in the same area, and it's like right next door, and this should not be a challenge. This one should be given to us. But the judge was like, well, I have to go see about this, and Well, I did make him after I lost. I did make a mark on it, so if it comes down to it, our lawyers can take a look at that one because I think that's one we should have won. That one was just petty bullshit, I thought. But I mean, I think it was really telling too that in talking to the judge I was with, he was like, "This whole thing is pointless. We should not be doing this, wasting the money on this. This is what the election judge told me." And I thought that was really telling. The Illinois State Board of Elections knows what the judges there know what's going on, and it's quite obvious. So, it's bullshit pettiness. What I'd like to do now is I talked to. We have another instance of this happening, and this encounter was actually a lot shorter. But I talked to Mike Weinberg. He's from Mokina, I believe he said. And I'm going to go ahead and play this. This is about 16 minutes, so here we go.
When Microsoft bought Skype...
Oh, I didn't edit this very well, I think.
What happened was that earlier this year they were talking about disabling... So, all right, basically, all we're going to do is basically the actual petition collectors didn't really have enough time, but, you know, it was like my brother and his Ian up there since he was the biggest signature getter in the state. This is like borderline illegal. It wasn't all family. I think it was the sequel, Archie Bunker's Place, happened to let me know because I want to try to compile as many of these stories as possible.
Okay, hold on. I thought I edited this.
And if you know of anyone else that this has happened to, let me know because I want to try to
we'll just start from
compile
here.
as many of these stories as possible. We got two
Nothing
right
like
now.
being prepared.
If this is what they're doing, to me, this is like borderline illegal. You know, I don't know. I'm no lawyer. I'm sure lawyers will weasel their way out of it, like they do with everything, like the guy who's filed the complaint. But at any rate, okay, so
Didn't we win the petition challenge? The one down in Springfield?
yes, we did, but now they're challenging the actual petition collectors. And
I edited
word
this.
has it, I might be wrong on this, but I believe that our attorney is going to have Brian up there since he was the biggest signature getter in the state. And they're claiming he doesn't live where he says he lives.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, this is the reason
in quotation marks. What's that?
This is the reason I didn't collect because the Hatch Act wouldn't allow me. They probably use that against me.
Yeah. They
Sign though.
I only picked up. I only got like 10 or 11 signatures because, you know, didn't really have enough time. But you know, it was like my brother and his friends and my sister, my dad, and you know, a bunch of people. And I find that when you're really cool with somebody and casual with them, be it friends or family or whatever, if you just describe to them what's going on, you know, and the bullshit in the system, they immediately sign that petition.
Oh yeah.
They're like, what the hell is this crap? There's no, you know, sense to it. So, okay, all right. So here we go. I'm gonna give her a start, and this probably won't run too long.
I am a professional.
The theme of tomorrow's show.
All right.
Since we're gonna have the guy who first reported the thing on tomorrow morning anyway. So
that would be you,
right.
Warren.
It's pronounced Weinberg, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
This is behind the scenes.
You? No, I'm kidding.
Jewish.
Jewish. Yeah, not really a Jew, just kind of Jewish. Oh gosh. Cartman joke coming in here somewhere, but okay. Alrighty, thank you everybody for once again tuning in to another episode of Side Project Live. As I may or may not have already mentioned, there's been a nice big issue that just cropped up with the whole Libertarian Party of Illinois petition drive, and I'm assuming by the time you hear this that I probably already mentioned it, because since it is the theme of the show, but in case I forget, basically, the state Republican Party has been going around sending operatives out to people's houses to try to, I don't know, determine if they live there or try to identify, you know, make them identify the person who got their signature. And so, yeah, they're really trying any sort of desperate trick. And I have with me on the line here, since, you know, not able to join me join us live, I still would want to get his story because it's very, very important to what's going on here. And welcome, Mike Weinberg.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good. Good day, eh? Oh boy. I keep forgetting that some of these people I talk to are a lot younger than me, and they're just probably not getting some of the jokes that I put out there. That was like a 1983 joke. The movie was Strange Brew, Bob and Doug McKenzie, Dave Thomas, Rick Moranis. Good day, eh? But anyway, so I'd like you to tell us what happened. I mean, you apparently, from what I understand, you had a let's say run-in with one of these Republican operatives. What happened? First of all, what day did this happen? About what time?
This happened on Tuesday. It was roughly 9 a.m. I was on my way to work. I was running late, actually, so I was a little agitated. He rung my doorbell. I opened. He said, "Good morning." I'm like, "Oh, crap, it's a Jehovah's Witness or something." Because I've had that before.
Oh, yeah.
And he had a binder with him, and he asked if I signed a petition for the Libertarian Party, and I was puzzled. Yes. Why? And then he asked me if the person who had me sign, if he was a male or a female. And then I'm like, oh crap, it's one of these Republican guys, because I saw this on Facebook, on Jim's Facebook actually. And then, in my usual tact and polite self, I said, "Who the hell are you?" And he was kind of stunned. He said he worked for, I didn't really pay attention. I was kind of hoping for a name. I heard commission, election commission or something. I was just pissed. And then he asked, or I asked, "How much are those Republican fucks paying you?" Those were the exact words. And he just went here in the headlights, kind of stepped out. He's like, "Have a good day." And he power walked to his car.
That was it? That was the whole interaction?
That was the entire interaction, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Out a little bit.
Yeah, what, so that wasn't even a minute.
No.
Holy cow. I expected with, now, full disclosure, we're both members of the Will County Libertarian Party, and I haven't been to a meeting in a while because I'm married and have children. But we have met, and you're a pretty good stand-up guy, and if people who know you, you've served in our military, and in fact that's your profile picture on Facebook. I mean, you standing there holding well, I can't make out what weapon that is, but I mean,
49 saw.
There you go. But it is, or as they in slang term, big ass gun. So, being a guy in the military who's supposedly fighting for freedoms, freedom of speech, freedom of association, freedom of thought, freedom of choice. I mean, what was going through your mind when this? Well, not necessarily when this happened, but even after it happened. I mean, give us a little insight.
I didn't really know that it was actually happening. I thought it was just a couple of people going around who heard that we actually met and exceeded the threshold for petitions. I thought it was just a couple of people just harassing people, because they were mad, because they're Republicans, because, they say the Libertarians steal from the Republican vote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I didn't know exactly what to think. Wow, is this dude actually getting paid by these guys? I mean, the reaction that he got when I said, "How much are they paying you?" He probably knew that I knew what was up, saw it in the news, and just left before I made a real issue of it, tried to get his license plate. I should have took a picture. Dang it. But, yeah, the whole situation pisses me off. That's all I can really say, I mean.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I said it's kind of annoying. That's it.
Yeah, it seems to me like they. I haven't heard our other guest story because I'm recording this on August 1st. Like I'm British. August 1st, and our show is going to be on August 2nd. So I haven't heard our other guest's story yet, but it almost seems to me like he had a bit of a bigger interaction with him, but.
Well, he probably wasn't hostile like I was.
Well, yeah, that's true too. But it could also be the thing that word is getting around. I mean, just even 6 years ago, this sort of thing happening, Facebook was still here, but I don't think there was the connectivity between people that there is now with Facebook. I mean, Facebook was, let's face it, Facebook's only like 10, 11, 12 years old, something like that. So, back 6, 7, 8 years ago, was still kind of a youngster. Yeah, I know, so not as...
Still dominant. Oh, the old days.
MySpace. And,
MySpace.
and, but now I think they're getting the message, and I think they're running scared. I know for a fact that people have contacted the Lake County Libertarian Party, not Libertarian, Republican Council Party or whatever it is up there with stuff. And by the way, I haven't gotten kicked off of their Facebook page yet. I'm leaving my little comments, and there's a spot for reviews. Me and Paul Clark and a few other people have gotten on there and left reviews. So you might want to take a look at that too, Mike.
Oh, I did. I was one of the people.
Oh,
who
did
left,
you? Oh,
yeah.
okay. I must have forgot. But I'm almost 46, so I've got an excuse. I'm elderly. But
I've not been banned. Look at that. Checking right now. I have not been banned from their Facebook page.
Awesome. And really, I put the call out on my Facebook page and on the pages of a lot of my libertarian friends on Facebook. Contact me if you're getting harassed by these people. I want all of this stuff documented because I think that we, the Libertarian Party of Illinois, can file, justly so, a harassment lawsuit against the Illinois Republican Party for this, because this let's face it, this is harassment. They're just I don't know, this is trolling without internet, they're going out there and trying to find anything that they can because they don't want us on the ballot because they're scared.
Rather than they change up their own platform to make it a little more appealing to people, they got to attack. They got to make it so that nobody has a real choice.
And, well, that's exactly it. And let's
take Crips or Bloods. Take your pick.
Yeah. It reminds me of an old Far Side comic. Satan had his pitchfork against this guy's back, and one door says, "Damned if you do," and the other one says, "Damned if you don't." And Satan is behind the guy saying, "Come on, guy, you got to pick one." So, and that's what they're going for here. And I had a little bit of a back and forth. I don't really want to reveal a lot of my hand too early here, so I'm not repeating myself tomorrow. But I had a little back and forth with the man who, quote unquote, man of integrity, who brought the challenge up against the Libertarian Party, and basically he's saying that well, we're just here to make sure that you guys obey the law.
Oh,
and I'm thinking, okay, yeah, I could see that. So how did your challenge against the Green and Democrat parties go? I wish I should have said that, but I didn't, because I didn't want him to give any reason to sue me, because he's a lawyer and I'm not. He's rich and I'm not. So but that thought process in my head, there's no consistency, there's no integrity, and it's all a bunch of lies. And I'm toying with the idea. I haven't decided if I'm going to read the whole conversation on the show, because once again, I don't want to get sued. I don't have a lot of money, but not having a lot is a lot better than having none. So so we got to take care of that. But is there anything else you would really like to add to this rambling conversation? Because I'm the one doing the rambling, but is there anything else you'd like to add to this?
But I'm kind of reminded of a Simpsons episode. It was one of the Halloween episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Kane and Kodos,
yep.
Those aliens. They disguised themselves as, was it George Bush and who ran against George Bush? I can't remember.
Clinton.
Clinton?
I think it was Dolan Clinton, actually.
I don't recall that.
Either way, we're two politicians from the 90s.
One was dressed as a Democrat, the other as a Republican, and then they're giving their speech or doing a debate. Hey, these guys are sounding the same, somebody from the audience says. And event I can't remember, and then they both took their disguises off. Kane and Kodos, everyone knows they're aliens now. And you got to vote for one of us. And then some guy from the audience goes, "Why? I think I'll vote for a third party." And then Kodos goes, "Go ahead, throw your vote away."
Yes.
So that's what this reminds me of.
Yeah, and then after that, and you're mentioning that, and I keep thinking of the one South Park episode where they're trying to elect a new school mascot, and their choices were a giant douche and a turd sandwich. So, at any rate, so there you go. Thank you for taking a few minutes of your time, Mike. And once again, if anybody has any stories, contact us here at Side Project. Our email is thesideproject2@gmail.com. Message us on Facebook. We have a Google Voice number, which I don't actually have that number in front of me, but I will definitely read it during the live show. And please get a hold of us. We want all of this stuff documented, and I'm going to air it on the show. And if the party legal counsel needs it, I will be more than happy to give it up to him. And there you go. So once again, thanks, Mike.
Thanks for having me.
Not a problem. And back to our regular.
Okay, well, that badly edited piece of audio. But he was visited too, and he pretty much scared the people off. But before we go any further, I got to do something here that I absolutely always totally forget, and that's how to contact us. Our email address is thesideproject2@gmail.com. Our Twitter is thesideproject2, so you can do that. If you post anything about the show, use the hashtag TSPLive. Our Google Voice number, which, come on, people, give her a call, is 815-200-4912. And I am, as of right now, literally as of right now, because it just occurred to me, starting a new Twitter hashtag. So anytime you have a story about this, you have your own personal experience, a newspaper article about any of this, use the hashtag Illinois GOP voter fraud. That's hashtag Illinois GOP voter fraud. And I'm going to start using that and try I've been a member of Twitter for a couple of years now, and just recently just started using it to its potential, because it just seems to me to be pointless in some cases. But I am now starting to see its potential and starting to use it. And what I'd like to do, first of all, Eric, you've been kind of silent. What are your thoughts on all of this?
It's typical.
Well, it's desperate. I mean, typical, yes, but it's also desperate, and it shows me that they're still laboring under the misconception that libertarians steal votes from them. And my response to that is, first of all, shown, and I need to find the studies and link to them. I'm not one of these people that like spouting stuff off without evidence, but some studies have shown that for every person that votes, for every Republican person that votes Republican, wait a minute, hold on a second, for every Republican that changes his vote to Libertarian, there are 1.5 Democrats changing their vote to Libertarian. So if anything, we should be getting sued by the Democrats. But then on top of that, the whole thing that we're stealing people's votes. Okay, first of all, that is not what libertarian philosophy is. The libertarian philosophy is about non-aggression, non-coercion. We're not stealing anything. We're not coercing people. We're asking them. And so what I'd like everyone listening to the show, watching the show or whatever, if anybody ever comes up with that, well, you're just stealing votes, from such and such, say, no, we're not stealing anything. We're convincing people. We're swaying people. We're using our mind. We're using logic. Stop using the steal. Stop using the take. Use the positive, convince and sway. Because that's what libertarianism is about. It's about convincing people. It's about swaying people. It's not about stealing. That's what the Democrats and Republicans do. I mean, where else are you going to see dead people voting for JFK? That's a vote stealing. I remember back when in the last election, and it was either Gary or Hammond, Indiana, somebody that signed up as a Democrat voter in Indiana signed his name as Jimmy John, and the address on there was a sandwich shop.
This all comes from people voting against what they don't want instead of voting for what you want, and they're terrified. I've said it before. American politics spectator sport, and the voters are fans cheering for their favorite team, and it really is that simple. Sell us politicians the way they sell cars and clothes and pharmaceuticals. It's all the same thing. Buy ours, theirs sucks. And nobody really thinks about the issues. They don't think about, well, I like the red one, and then so they buy that car because it's got the fancy headlights. And it's really that simple, this lowest common thing. And it's no wonder when you have, half, give or take, of people eligible to vote don't. So that should be an indication right there that how much nonsense there is. That that many people either can't be bothered or see how ridiculous it is. Look, if voting for libertarians doesn't voting for repeal votes from Democrats, if you use that same logic, it doesn't mean the same thing. And people really have to stop voting against things and vote for things.
Looks like somebody just got on Minecraft behind you there.
Yeah.
Hello. I was wondering why you were just starting to sound a little goofy there, and then I noticed that. But one thing I forgot to say, and I gotta, you know what? I'm gonna put this back in our new opening. By the way, what do you think of that new music? It's from the movie Danger Death Ray, which one of my favorite Mystery Science Theater 3000 episodes, and I absolutely love that song because it's so bad. But one thing I forgot to do is tell everybody that we do have the Q&A open on Google Hangouts, and we are in the chat room at radiofoobar.com. So if you have any questions for me, Eric, or our guest Warren, feel free to submit them. We will get to them. We will answer them. And even if you're a Republican listening to this, which I doubt there are any, even though I did post this to the Lake County Republican Commission page, which is where the person who filed the challenges against our petitions is from. We're happy to answer anything, but we're going to give you straight talk. We're not going to sugarcoat anything, and we might actually even swear at you. So just telling you that right up front. But one thing I want to do here, a couple of things. First of all, I found this interesting, and after I was talking to Mike last night about the whole situation, I was doing a search about while I was talking to him, and doing a search about ballot access and which states have the worst ballot access. And one search I found said that Illinois wasn't even in the top 5, which I kind of find hard to believe. But I came across this Wikipedia article about ballot access. And there was something interesting here. And according to the Constitution, that international treaties are basically the law of the land. Now, that's right in the Constitution. And President George H.W. Bush signed the Copenhagen document of the Helsinki Accords. And I found this interesting. In Section 7.5 of the Copenhagen document, respect the right of citizens to seek political or public office individually or as representatives of political parties or organizations without discrimination. 7.6. Respect the right of individuals and groups to establish in full freedom their own political parties or other political organizations and provide such political parties and organizations with the necessary legal guarantees to enable them to compete with each other on a basis of equal treatment before the law and by the authorities. And it goes on to say here, the United States has been criticized by the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe for its harsh ballot access laws in the past. In 1996, United States delegates responded to the criticism by saying unfair ballot access could be remedied through existing appeal and regulatory structures and did not represent a breach of the Copenhagen commitments. Bullshit! Oh, excuse me. I'm coming down with bullshititis here. The OSCE published a report on the 2004 United States election, which, among other things, noted restrictive ballot access laws. The United States and Switzerland are the only countries in the world that don't have national ballot access standards for federal elections. Now, people know that libertarians are for small government, and we want to reduce the role of the federal government as much as possible. We believe, most of us, that the only role of the federal government is to protect the rights and liberties of the individual. And as such, I am for the federal government creating the same ballot access laws and apply them nationwide as long as they are fair. And that is a proper role for government. Would you not agree with that, Eric?
I think it is. That because elections are handled the way it's set up. We're supposed to be a confederation of United States. That's really how it's designed to be. Unfortunately, what the states do is often abusive, and so that's where they could perhaps step in and try to settle that. It's just interesting how many states like electoral politics. The Constitution sets up an electoral system. Yet 48 states have broken it with winner take all. And I don't know how that can persist. How the Fed will abide by the code in this case, not step in. But in a drug war, they ignore states' rights.
And it's very interesting because you're correct. I mean, the way I understand it, the United States, as you said, be a confederation, and if program X works in one state, then other states can say, hey, let's get in on that. And of course, it can work the opposite way. I mean, for all of Mitt Romney was complaining about Obamacare was based on his own damn program. Go figure. But let me continue with the well, actually, before we go on, you haven't spoken in a while, Warren. What do you think about that?
I have to think about that specific idea in a little more detail, because I start with the notion that central government is designed to provide and maintain an environment for the free and just pursuit of happiness. And everything else is reserved for the state people.
Which are the 9th and 10th Amendments of the Constitution.
Right. So almost everything the federal government gets into seems to not work all that well. And so I'm always very leery about additional involvement from Washington.
And the one fear that I always have, is that that the government, if it was to apply something nationwide, would actually apply something bad. Well, that's why I'm against nationwide school curriculum mandated by the government and that sort of thing, because if you get a bunch of religious right people controlling the government and making that program nationwide, then everybody is going to be learning about creationism and being told that evolution is a lie. But I believe the whole guaranteeing equal access to being on the ballot is a proper role for the federal government. But once again, you have to monitor it and make sure that everything's going correctly. Otherwise, every Oklahoma's ballot access laws in place as well. I'm going to continue here with the Wikipedia article. Let me see here. Only the U.S. and Switzerland, only countries in the world that don't have national ballot access standards for federal elections. However, in Swiss federal elections, each canton elects its own representatives, and each candidate can only be listed in one canton. Since 1985, Democrats and Republicans, including Congressman John Conyers, Democrat Michigan, Congressman Tim Penny, Democrat Minnesota, and Congressman Ron Paul, R. Texas, here's a shock, have repeatedly introduced in the U.S. House of Representatives a bill that would set maximum ballot access requirements for House elections. The bill has only made it to the House floor once, in 1998, and when it was defeated 62 to 363. What does that tell you? But here's what you were talking about, Warren. While some supporters of easy ballot access seek congressional intervention, other reformers are happy Congress has not mandated stricter access laws in all states. Reducing access requirements at the local level would be easier than doing so federally if Congress wanted to guarantee its re-elections. Okay, that would depend on the state. If you're like one of these states that they call the battleground states, which is only like 10 states, like Colorado and New Mexico and Ohio and
Purple
states, exactly. Well, purple is fabulous. Just ask Prince. But but in those states, I think it would be easier to get easier ballot access laws. But in states that's like, that are red states like Texas I could swear growing up that the Republicans were represented by red and the Democrats were represented by blue. I could have sworn that was the way. Maybe I'm wrong. I was a stupid kid just worrying about, killing the green dragon on the way to the gold castle in Atari's Adventure at the time. But you go to the states like Texas, which are all one way, all Republican, and then states that are all the other way, like Illinois and California. The problem there is that in those kind of states where it's basically a one-party government, you're not changing things.
Well, it's by design. That's the thing that I think there's no real. How can 48 states, agree on when it's clearly not what's in. Clearly doesn't represent the will of the people. It's to control elections. It's the reason why ballot laws are what they are. It's the reason we take all electoral policies. It's to control elections. If the federal government wanted to fix this, if you and I petition our government and they actually, that's a good idea. I'll propose that bill, and they wanted to fix this. They can do it. Even outside the Constitution. They do it all the time. People think the federal legal drinking age is 21. There isn't one. It doesn't exist. Under the Constitution, there can't be a federal minimum. They do it by holding on. They tell the states, you make it this way, or you don't get any highway funds. So the states abide. They could force this if they wanted to. They don't want to. They like it that way.
Indeed, they do. And don't know if I should do this, but I'm going to do it anyway because I've got nothing to lose. So I'm going to read the interaction I had with, I'm not going to give his name out, but with the guy who brought, one of the two guys that brought the challenge against the Libertarian Party petition. I'm being told we're getting feedback on here, so I'm going to make a couple adjustments. Can you guys hear me okay over there?
Yeah, I can hear you
fine.
Check on myself. Fix that.
Okay. All right.
I was hearing it on more.
What's that?
I was hearing it on more. I was hearing it on myself. I should be corrected now.
Okay. All right. So anyway, I'm going to read this exchange here. Okay. I initiated this conversation. Like I said, I'm not giving the guy's name out, but it's just if you want to find out who it is, it's one of the two people that brought the challenge. Just look up Illinois Petition Challenge. And just Google that and you can find out the guy's name. Now, this guy posted on his own personal website that he thought it funny that, that we're being cranky and that we just don't want to follow the law. And that we're complaining that we have to follow the law. And I responded in private, complaining that, mainly because I will not friend this douchebag, complaining that we have to follow the law? Really? You know damn well it's not about that at all. It's about removing voter choice from the ballot. You are a liar and have no integrity. And he responds, you can back those statements with facts? You've read my sworn complaint? I can't talk about the specifics of the legal action until it ends, and I will be then happy to sit down with you and many others to explain my actions. In the meantime, mere insults using tired voter suppression and voter choice arguments and name-calling accomplish nothing. I will be in touch with you after it is all over in a few more weeks. And I'm seriously considering having this guy on the show. But I want to run it by my co-hosts first. And let's see here. Hold on. I scrolled down too far. Okay. It's because you're so arrogant as to think we're stealing votes. Why is it you don't want me to vote? I stand by my assertions. Keep up the silly name calling. First of all, I just said he's a liar and has no integrity. I didn't call him names. So keep up the silly name calling. Solves nothing. Since you don't want to know why, then there really isn't much more to talk about. And I responded, one last question. If it is, I misspelled is as us. I was on my phone. Indeed about obeying the law, in quotes, would you be willing to help change them so that it was fair to those of us who are disenfranchised with the current ballot access regulations? And here is his response. If you knew my history on this subject, you would have seen my past efforts to do exactly that. But it seems you prefer name-calling instead. Now, I did not call him a name once. I did say he was a liar and had no integrity, but I didn't call him stuff like bitch, douchebag, which was actual name-calling. But it seems you prefer name-calling instead. I suggested Libertarians and Greens go through the primary process so their signature requirements would be the same as the major parties. Right now, the trade-off is no primary, so higher number of required signatures. Or was that an arrogant suggestion on my part? And I ended the conversation with, you have told me all I need to know. Okay. All right. Let's break down this last bit of the argument here. I suggest the Libertarians and Greens go through the primary process. Okay, I can't speak for the Green Party. They are a bigger government party, but they at least do have integrity. So, you know, I got to give them that. As far as the Libertarians go, we don't believe that the government should be funding primaries.
Well, the other
so
problem is
yeah,
they can't. We're not allowed in the primary process. You have to have ballot access to hold a primary.
I would definitely have to double check what that is about, because there's more to this than what he's definitely saying. But even if we were in the primary, the Libertarian Party is against federal funding of private primaries and funding of conventions and that sort of thing. So basically, he's saying that right now the trade-off is no primary, so higher number of signatures required. Okay, let's break this down. Okay, we don't believe that the government should be funding primaries. We believe that basically that we should be saving, by not doing that, we're saving the government money. So by saving the government money, we're being punished. We're doing something good, and we're being punished for it. Am I the only one that saw that particular argument, that contradiction I just said?
Oh, it's there. It's there.
It's there. I mean, that's exactly it. He's not being... like I said, I'm really toying with having this guy on the show. I'm not convinced 100% one way or the other. But I think it would be interesting, and I think it would be the nastiest this show ever got. But the only reason I'm not considering it as basically being one of the main episodes of the show is because of the big news, which you know what, I think I'm going to I think I'm just going to announce it now. Starting next week, August 9th. 9th? That's August 9th. Yeah, August 9th at 5 p.m. People that know us know that you can listen to us, actually, the 9th or the 10th? I guess it is the 9th. August 9th at 5 p.m. I have to double check that. It's either the 9th or the 10th. Some big announcement. I'm not sure on the date. But at 5 p.m., we are getting picked up by another network. We're going to be on Radio Fubar still. And Radio Fubar is going to be still the exclusive outlet of our live show. If you do want to watch it video, Radio Fubar actually did put up their own, has their own Google Plus Hangout page now. I'm going to experiment with. I'm going to try to look into that. We can still make the event through Google Plus calendars and all that. So there won't be much change there other than where this is going. But we're also going to have a replay. I think it's the next day. I think it is the 10th, on the Tuieville network. Now, for people not familiar, Tuieville is the brainchild of one Steve Tui, who radio guy, stand-up comedian, actor, who used to actually be my boss, or one of them, when I worked at Star Radio down in Kankakee. The only guy above him was someone me and Eric both know, Mike Tamano. And so we are going to be premiering on his network. Right, the way it is right now, he's got a morning show on his network. It's the only show, and what happens is that the anyway, his morning show goes from like 6:30 to 9:30. Monday through Friday, and it's the only show on his network. And he just replays that show for the whole day, and then the other show. I'm going to turn my stuff down here real quick. Let me see. That one there. Am I sounding okay now?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, no.
I can hear me fine too. That's a problem.
What's that? Oh, you can hear you. You're still feeding back.
Yeah, I think Eric and I are getting some feedback still.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can do something about that here. All right, how's that? Is that better?
No.
No. Okay.
Yeah, I just checked to make sure I didn't have a loop, and I don't.
And it started after the interview, huh?
I think. So that might be something there.
Fascinating. I don't think there's a whole lot I can do about it right now.
All right. Well, talk.
Well, anyway, so anyway, we're going to be on the Tuieville Network. He wants to add some more programming on the weekends, and he basically came out and asked me if I wanted to put my show on there. Now, the only stipulation is that if we do any swearing on this show, I'll have to bleep it out, and that's pretty much the only restriction at this point. So join us next week. I'll have the exact time and date, but the time is going to be 5. It's funny. I was talking to him last week, and we already had the date nailed out. And I was like, "What time? We never discussed the time." And he's like, "Oh crap, we didn't, did we? What time is good for you?" And I'm thinking, how about 5 p.m.? Because there's another show I like to listen to in the afternoon if I'm not doing anything, which means I don't get to listen to the show. Actually, now that I think about that, show starts at 4:30. Oh, well, no big deal. I'd listen to that on a podcast anyway. But so anyway, yeah, we're going to be on the Tuieville Network, and we'll be getting. You can listen to us there, and which means that not only can you hear us on Radio Fubar, Google Plus. Actually, you can get the live show on YouTube as well. I just don't promote that one. I don't know why. I just don't. And let me think else. Stitcher. You can also get Radio Fubar on TuneIn Radio. Tuieville is also on TuneIn Radio. He's also on Live 365, so I believe you'll get us on there. And I believe you'll also get us on the Chicago Comedy Scene app, because his show streams on there as well. So, a lot more outlets and a lot more listener fragmentation. So there you go. It's all good. It's all good. So that's the big announcement. And wow, we still got about a half hour. Warren, you got any thoughts on the whole process? It's like all baloney.
Well, I've got maybe just 2 or 3 things more to mention about the interaction I had and how it compares and contrasts to what I understood from Mike. So one of the things, if I understood Mike correctly, was that he had to ask the operative at his door who they represented or who they were with. So the person who came to my door did tell me right up front. In fact, I think that was the first thing out of their mouth, was that they were representing the Republican Party. So then we went through this whole process. But the rest of this is very similar. They wanted to know apparently 2 things. One is this your signature? And 2 is, what's the gender of the person who was circulating the petition? So it's obvious to me that the gender of the circulator is very important to them in some attempt to strike certain petitioners. But the other thing is so when I began to berate him a little bit, don't you guys have anything better to do with your time? His response to me was, I'm just doing my job. And so, a job is obviously something where you trade your labor in exchange for some kind of compensation. So at that point I said, so you're getting paid to do this, is that correct? He said, yes, that's right. And at this point he was beginning to walk down my driveway away from me. It was clear that he'd had enough of this conversation. So I began to follow him, not in a threatening manner at all, but just to continue the conversation. And I said, do you anticipate going to all 30,000 people who are left who are left as being, appropriate signatures? He said, that's the plan. So, to me, it was very, very interesting that they would spend the time and resources. This kid had a photocopy of the petition with him. He had a handful of highlighters. And the signatures above mine on the petition were highlighted in, I can't remember if there were 2 colors or 3 colors, but it was clear that there was some kind of process underway to delineate between the responses that had come from one of the doors he knocked on relative to another. But if they're really going to go throughout the state and knock on the doors of 30,000 people, that's a lot of time and money, right?
Oh, you would think. And I'm wondering about how many people in the Republican Party really know that this is where their donations to the party are going.
Right.
And of course, the question on top of that is how many of them actually care.
So there's a whole other host of other things that brings up in my mind, though, too. So, I signed this petition as an active supporter of the Libertarian Party, but of the 43,000 people who signed this, my guess is that 80% of them were perhaps an active supporter of additional choices on the ballot, but may not even know a whole lot about the Libertarian Party. They may have been standing at a train station on an April morning when Brian or someone else approached them and said, we're trying to get a slate of candidates on the ballot. If you're a registered voter in the state of Illinois, we would really like your help. And a lot of people are going to be supportive of that idea. Sure, more candidates on the ballot, that's a good idea. So that happens in April. Somebody knocks on your door in July. And they ask you, what was the gender of the person who is collecting, these signatures? Geez, I don't know. I think it must have been a female, right? Or I think it must have been a male. They have no idea 4 months later. They may have forgotten that they signed the thing 4 months later.
You know what? I don't remember what I got at McDonald's, for lunch like 2 months ago.
Right.
Hell, I don't remember waking up this morning. The only reason I know I did is because I'm here.
Right. So the other thing that just struck me after this happened was that one of my neighbors across the street happened to move out of her home back in May and moved to a condo, 3 to 4 blocks away from there.
Mm-hmm.
What if she had signed this petition in April? She wanted to have additional choices on the ballot. She still wanted to have additional choices on the ballot. She still lived in the district. She's still a registered Illinois voter, but she lives 4 blocks away from the address that she put on the petition. So this young kid goes across the door, knocks on her door, asks for her by name, and the person who answers the door says, "Oh, nobody by that name lives here anymore." Are they going to strike that?
The funny thing is that in I don't know if I should mention some of this stuff. I'm going to a person who was a member of the Will County Libertarian Party signed a petition, but then for one reason or another, I really don't know. And he was a good guy too. I've actually met him. He actually had to move back to Florida, I think to take care of his parents or something. Is I going to throw out that whole petition? I've been doing some research on this, and it looks like in election years past, the Republican Party of Illinois has actually gotten whole petitions thrown out because of one bad signature.
Oh, jeez.
It's a cluster. I mean, it's a cluster. I mean, it's the system in Illinois is set up dead set against the third party, and the whole reason they're doing this, especially with all the gusto they're doing it this year, is because it looks like at this point the Republican is actually got a lead over the Democrat for the governor's race, and they want to. And the way I understand it, latest polls that I have seen, I should say, show the Republican with a double-digit lead. Now, last time we had a Republican governor in this state, he was sent to jail, and he was no conservative. Which is one of the things that actually led me down the path to libertarianism. Small government. It was funny in that election. George Ryan. It was George Ryan against Glenn Pichard. George Ryan was the Republican. Glenn Pichard was the Democrat. George Ryan was anti-gun, anti-death penalty, and pro-choice. The Democrat was pro-gun. Wait. Hold on a second. Ryan was anti-gun, pro-choice, and anti-death penalty. The Democrat was pro-gun, pro-death penalty, and anti-abortion. The Democrat was more freaking conservative than the Republican, at least in those regards. And I back in those days, I was a Christian, and I thought I was doing the right thing by voting Republican because that was the kind of brainwashing we had in church. So I voted Republican without even thinking or even looking at it until after the election was over, and then I looked at the stances and I'm like, this guy over here is more, and it just totally blew my mind. The labels mean nothing, but they're still trying to get this Rauner guy to be governor of Illinois, and they just want to protect. They think that we're going to steal the votes. No, we're not stealing the votes. We want equal chance. People in Illinois are pissed, but they don't realize is that
their choices are limited. They're limited. Their choices are being limited, and they also don't realize that you know, this is Illinois. A conservative is not getting elected. As long as Chicago is in Illinois, you're not going to have a conservative win. That's just all there is to it. Because you can't win in Illinois if you're a conservative because of the city of Chicago and Crook County. But oh, by the way, I figured out the feedback problem. I am an idiot. I actually turned my audio up through Google Hangouts because the audio of that clip was too low, and I forgot to put the audio back down. Is it sounding better to you guys?
It always sounded fine when you were talking. It's when Eric and I were talking. And I'm still getting a little feedback here.
No. Hopefully this won't be a problem next week when I got my main computer over here up and working, and which means I'm going to have to clean this.
So one other curious
Eric,
thing that I just thought I'd mention real quick. After I posted this to the Page Libertarians website, you know, there was, or Facebook page, I should say, not website. There was a fair amount of conversation from a variety of people who follow that page. And one of the suggestions from someone was this ought to be posted on the Tea Party's page. And the Tea Party has, I don't know, close to a couple thousand followers on their Facebook page. So I thought, well, that might be interesting. I wonder how the Tea Party would respond to this, which was with deafening silence. There was not any responses from any Tea Party members. There was, I think, one like. I wasn't doing this for likes, by the way. I was just doing this to try and, you know, get a conversation going. But it was impossible to get a conversation going with the Tea Party, even though there were multiple other articles that were linked, you know, during the same time frame. So the page itself was relatively active, but this topic was of no interest to them whatsoever. So I just thought that was very curious. You know, if you take a look at the Tea Party's, you know, overall supposed mission, this would seem to be in direct contrast to the Tea Party's mission. But it only is a concern to them, you know, if in fact I published that the Democrats were doing this to the Green Party, my guess is it would have gotten a lot more play on the Tea Party page.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would think so too. And actually, this the Green Party challenges, I believe, are this next week. I have to double check, and I got to get in touch with the guy from the Green Party. In fact, I'm gonna try to give him a call today, because, like I said earlier in the show, this is I'm not sitting back. This is something that's very. Hold on a second. Eric just gave me a new tip for this thing, and I'm just trying to remember to do it. As I said earlier, this is something that's very, very important, and this affects everybody. And if the tables were turned, I'm sure that the Republican and Democrat parties would be throwing a big hissy fit and saying the same things we are. So I mean, it's a big thing, and I'm kind of curious as to, and I'm like I said, I'm gonna find this information out to see who exactly challenged the Green Party candidacy or the petitions and the Constitution Party petitions, and see if anybody challenged the Democrat and Republican ones. And I have a feeling there was no challenges. I really honestly do. And they have a lower threshold. They only need 5,000 signatures. We have to get 25,000, and they knocked out 14,000 of the signatures down in Springfield, which, once again, a lot of that has to do with people either not wanting to be bothered or paid petitioners that are just total wastes of money. And I actually floated an idea on my Facebook page about instead of hiring paid petitioners, about seeing if people affiliated with the party could take a week off to like vacation time or something in an election year to collect signatures. But what would happen, even unpaid time off, but have like you know how they have that adopt a child, hungry starving child thing, you know, down in Africa, like the whole Sam Kinison, won't you please help type thing. Doing something like that, except for petitioners, for people that have integrity, that aren't doing this just because it's a job, but doing it because they actually believe in the situation. And I'm floating that idea out there, and I have a feeling it depends on the availability of people. That's the only drawback for this thing, but we would at least be able to use our money more wisely than with the paid petitioners, and that's a topic for another time, and I really would like to get Lex Green on here to talk about that too. But at any rate, so there's that.
So one other thing I'm curious about, I'll just take a minute and maybe,
Sure.
and I don't think there's an answer to this question, although maybe there will be in the relatively near future, and that is, so it's obvious that they're interested in what gender was the petition circulator.
Uh-huh.
So what happens next week at the state of Illinois Senate if this kid shows up, was at my door, and says this certain petitioner said that the circulator of the petition that he signed was a female, and the circulator's signature on here is from somebody named Thomas, who's obviously a male.
Mm-hmm.
Does that hold any weight? I mean, would I have to be the person who says that, no, it wasn't Thomas who was circulating this petition, it was some female? In other words, are they going to even believe the person who's going door to door?
Well, they're grasping at straws. That's what it is. They're trying to find any little thing. They're the camel trying to get their nose in the tent. They're the salesman trying to get their foot in the door. They're desperate. Is what it really boils down to. And this they're scared.
But there's no proof, I guess, is what I'm saying. Is what happens when they show up next week and they say, we had people going door to door and here's the evidence that we collected. And the Libertarian Party says, that's bullshit. You don't have any proof that you even went door to door. You don't have anybody who signed anything that said that this was a female circulator or a male circulator. You don't have anything. You just have somebody who says they knocked on somebody's door and that the response of the person whose door they knocked on was such and such. We don't know that you knocked on their door, or if you did, we don't know that their response was as you claim it to be. This is a bunch of bullshit. Go away, you know?
And I just got a message. Brian Lambrick from the DuPage Party wanted to jump in here, and I just sent him an invitation. So hopefully he will join us for the last couple of minutes here. So Brian, if you're listening, come on in. Here he is. Brian.
Takes a minute usually for the audio to.
Yeah. I just have his logo right now. I don't actually.
Right.
Yeah. The whole thing is bullshit, and it's and they're desperate and grasping for straws. Like I was saying, is that I want all of this documented. Email me at thesideproject2@gmail.com. Tweet me at thesideproject2. If you post something, use either hashtag TSP Live or hashtag Illinois GOP voter fraud. And another thing you can do, if you have a smartphone, iPhone, Android, doesn't matter. I believe it's also on the Windows Phone, but nobody uses that. Install the live stream app on your phone. Sign up for a live stream account, and if you get one of these people coming to your door, grab your phone and start the live stream. It will take your video feed and immediately stream it to the internet. So that way, they say, will you stop recording or whatever, or if they complain about it, it's already out on the internet, and there's no way they can stop it at that point. Also, once again, our Google Voice line, 815-200-4912. Now, back to the show. Brian.
Hey, can you hear me? Can you see me?
I can see you. You're not wearing a shirt.
No, I'm not wearing anything, Jim. You know what? I knew it was your show, and I know that you always say you like to have your show kind of stripped down. And I thought, well, let's do this properly. Although I do have proper decorum, I wanted to make sure I was, properly. I mean, there's a professionalism I like to keep up.
Yeah. So you're wearing.
Hi, Warren.
Hey, Brian, how are you?
So you wanted to chime in here. Let me see, Eric, Warren, Brian. You wanted to chime in here. Brian, so what do you have to add to this here for the last few minutes?
Well, I jumped in a little bit late. I was up till 4 o'clock in the morning doing a project downtown in the city, and then I woke up and I was like, damn, I missed the show. I wanted to hear it. But I got to catch the last half hour or so, and Warren, your insight was great.
By the way, just a quick FYI, when we're done with the show, It takes about an hour for this to be converted and automatically uploaded to YouTube, so you can catch it all there, immediately afterwards. But continue.
Which is good, thank you, because I want to share this with people. I want to thank you, Warren, for being good and being on top of this, because when you broke this story last weekend, it hasn't even been a full 7 days since you reported this, but when you broke this, it got 70-some-odd shares. Our Twitter and our Facebook accounts both jumped up in membership, and people are very outraged about this. They didn't realize things like this take place, and it allowed people to wake up and go, wow, the system really is stacked against us. The rules really are written to favor the two big parties. It's not that libertarians can't get on the ballot because we suck. It's because the rules are genuinely written against us, and because the other parties go out of their way to do this. People don't realize that the Constitution Party is, they're not even going to defend theirs because they know they can't, and the Green Party on July 15th filed a federal lawsuit to get the laws changed in Illinois because they can't defend theirs. The only reason we defended ours, even though we're against the process and it's just horribly written, is because we had enough signatures to do it. And we survived, and they're still desperate to keep going on. But a lot of people seeing that message, seeing what you wrote, and realizing, wow, people are going door to door. That's voter intimidation, what they're doing. It sparked a lot of outrage. It got a lot of attention. I don't know if you guys know, I did an interview with the Chicago Sun-Times on Tuesday, I think Monday or Tuesday, right after this happened. I've been writing about it everywhere, and it's given people a reason to take a second look at what's going on in Illinois, because the rules aren't anywhere this bad in most other states in the country. I think we're one of like the 3 or 4 worst. And it's corruption, it's voter intimidation, and it's voter disenfranchisement. And I want to thank you, Warren, because I haven't seen you in a couple months. You haven't been to the meetings, Warren. Where have you been?
Unfortunately, I've been a little busy, and I'm not sure if I'm going to make the next one either, because I've got an out-of-town weekend that weekend. But I'm hoping to be there Thursday night and take off Friday morning. So anyway, hopefully we'll see you soon.
It'd be good, because you're very good. Warren, for those of you who don't know, has been very helpful at a previous candidate workshop with meeting our candidates and helping them get their I guess, all their ducks in a row, helping them straighten out their platforms. You guys got to remember, none of our people are professional career politicians, and they're not millionaires. They can't afford this stuff. So we rely on everybody else to help us work together and pull things up and make them happen. But I want to thank you for bringing this out and being brave enough to step forward and say, hey, this is what happened, putting it out there and allowing it to be shared. I mean, you become kind of a little minor celebrity. People may not know your name, but they know the guy that got the visit. And everybody is now on alert. There's 50 libertarians right now waiting with cameras at their front door to get a visit. I've got a camcorder and 2 other cameras, and I've got friends in this house. My neighbor showed up to ask me if I could give him a ride to pick up his car at the mechanic shop. And already Jenny's running around the back door to record this guy. Oh, it's my neighbor Rob. False alarm. But we want to catch one of these punks doing it. And again, I don't blame the punk. It's the same thing you were saying earlier. They're just some tadpole that's being hired to go out and do this. Just like, Jim, when you were at the defenses in Springfield. These kids they're sending there, they're interns, they're paid. They're not passionate. Once you talk to them, they don't really think it's right to throw a party off the ballot. They don't really think that that gay marriage is wrong, and they support equality rights. They're not really against this whole drug war. They think that marijuana should be legal, and then they end up admitting, yeah, I'm kind of a libertarian anyway, and then they don't put up a defense. And I think it's the same way with these punks walking around doing this. They're just unwitting tools being used in the cogs of the Republican machine. And I'm sure the Democrats would be doing the same thing to the Green Party if the roles were reversed.
Yeah, and I might add to something that you said, how you said the people that are accusing us are not really not interested in it, and once you do tell them what's going on, that they're against it. From what I understand, at least in my own experience, the judge that I was sitting with basically said this whole thing is bullshit. I mean, he didn't use those words, but he basically told me that. So, I mean, everybody knows, it sees right through this, except for the guy who filed the challenge. You might want to, once the show is up, I don't know if you heard, I read the conversation I had with this guy. I left his name out, but you know who I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So that'll be on. That's on the show. So you might want to listen to that later, and we went full into that. But at this point, we've only got a couple of more minutes left on the show. But one thing I want to do here is I really want to reiterate: if you have any interaction with these people coming to your door, all right, one thing I would suggest: don't be rude to them. Okay, I don't really want you to scare them off, but get as much as you can from them. Take notes, or better yet, film it. As I said, everyone's got a cell phone these days that has a camera. You can either record it, or you can install, as I said a few moments ago, live stream on there. Just install it on your phone, sign up for a live stream account. That way, when they come to the door and you record them, it's not only getting saved to your phone, but it's also going out on the internet. So they can't tell you to, erase it, erase the conversation, because you're like, oh, I'm sorry, it's already out on the internet. Too bad, so sad, sucks to be you. But if you have any interactions with them, let me know, because I would like to interview you on the show. I want to get as many of these interactions as possible. I would like to give these to the party's legal team. If you don't want to be involved in that, just let me know. But if you still want to tell your tale, let me know as well. You can email us, thesideproject2@gmail. Tweet us. Our Twitter is @thesideproject2. You can use, if you post it on Facebook, use the hashtag TSPLive, or one I just created today during the show, hashtag Illinois GOP voter fraud. Once again, I said stream the incident on live stream, or contact me through Google Voice. We have a side project Google Voice line at 815-200-4912. And
if there's something I could mention, if people are can get them recorded, they're already on your property, and they're not going door to door on your block, because most of those signatures are all over the place. These people are driving specifically looking for you. You may be one of only 5 people in that town they're looking for, which means they're driving, which means there's a license plate on a vehicle probably in front of your house. Be friendly, record the whole thing, ask them questions, and as they're backing away, follow them to your car and get that license plate. We want to identify some of these people who want to put the pressure on them.
And it's true, Brian. That's exactly what happened to me, just as an FYI. And of course, I wasn't prepared for this, so I didn't have the presence of mind to think that, I should try and document this a little bit better. That became clear after the fact, but it wasn't clear while it was going on. But the point that I was making is that's exactly what happened. As I began to engage this kid, he shrank from the conversation very quickly and walked down my driveway to the vehicle that he had parked in the street in front of my house, got in the car, and drove away. And I presume was driving to, some other place that might have been blocks or potentially even miles away from where I live. So
yeah, but the thing is though, Warren, none of us were expecting this to happen. So we were all unprepared. The point of this show is to make everybody prepared for it, so that we can get as much information, and who knows, we might be able to get another lawsuit going against the GOP, because this is definitely harassment. And the only question is that when it comes to recording conversations, Illinois is a 2-party consent state, the way I understand it now. They used that to throw people in jail for recording the police, because the police would never give consent. Now, the Illinois, I don't remember if it was a district court or Supreme Court, did overturn that, so now it is legal for us to record the cops without 2-party consent. It used to be in Illinois that if you recorded a cop, you got a longer minimum jail sentence than if you committed a rape. Think about that for a second. But so you might want to be a little cognizant of that. However, if they're on your property, I'd fight that shit. It's not like we're on public property, but if they're on your property, if you don't want them there, you could even get them for trespassing or something. I don't recommend that, because we're looking for information, because we want to nip this in the bud. But document everything. Try to get their name, the name of their boss, the name of who they're working for, their license plate. Try. I mean, if you can't, you can't. But if we get enough of these, we will definitely get all the information we need. And this episode is special. It's a clarion call to action on this, and pretty much that's it. Now, next week's show, I'm going to try to get the president of the Illinois Green Party on here to talk about what they've got going on in their situation. He contacted me. I contacted the party on Facebook, and I was expecting the guy to contact me through Facebook, but instead he called the Radio Fubar number, and so I didn't know that. So I got an email and I got his number and stuff, so I got to contact him. But as I said earlier in the show, and we are actually over our limit just a little bit, but as I said earlier in the show, this is an issue that doesn't affect libertarians. It affects everybody that lives in this doggone state. If you are clearly pro-choice, if you are a Democrat and you call yourself pro-choice, if you're pro-choice on abortion, Republicans call themselves pro-choice on, education. If you use the word pro-choice in anything to do with your being, with your philosophy or whatever, you will join us and you will support us, because this is limiting your choice and limiting democracy. And with that, we need to get going here. So once again, from Morris, Illinois, this is Jim Goebel.
From Lockport, Illinois, Eric Ferguson.
And I'd like to thank Warren for being on the show. I'd like to thank Mike Weinberg for letting me record him last night. I apologize for the fact that I didn't edit the audio like I thought I did, but granted it was 10:30 at night and I was tired. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. And thanks for Brian Landbrick for showing up at the last moment. You're always welcome to join the show whenever you want, except when I tell you don't join. And we will see you all next week, and hopefully we'll have the head of the Illinois Green Party on to talk about the situation. And bye-bye.